Okay, hey, we're live.
Hey, everybody watching us on YouTube. This is a first kind of crack test at live streaming our record session. And we're going to record a podcast right now. So, welcome.
Oh my god, we're gonna record a podcast.
How exciting.
How exciting.
Hopefully this goes better than our last attempt. I think YouTube will be kind to us more so than Facebook was.
I think so. We were hoping.
Speaking of which,
YouTube's been
just
doing it
on
a day or two longer than Facebook has, so I think we might be okay. I mean,
On
no
a
offense to
side
Facebook.
tangent.
Sorry, Bobby. I'm
Did
sorry.
you
I just keep jumping all over what you're saying.
I was just gonna ask if you guys had saw. It's just a side tangent that there was an article that came out the other day that said that Facebook is more trending towards being for old people.
I have not heard that.
I've not heard that, but this morning in the news there was a bunch of drama because a new article came out, and basically, I guess Facebook is causing all the employees a lot of stress and drama. And what's his name? The guy who started Facebook. My brain just typed.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg's losing sleep because he feels guilty about things. It's a whole thing. That's all I know.
You guys know more about Facebook than me. I have not heard these things. But I don't know. I guess I'm out of touch.
It was just a side tangent because we were talking about how it wasn't working for us. So, and it does seem to me that people don't use it that I know that much anymore. I mean, I obviously tons of people still use it, but it's just I think it's gone away from what it was when it was really sort of at its height. Now it's kind of like this passe thing, it seems like.
Yeah. But it feels like it's so embedded in our lives that it's not it's not going to be like a MySpace or a Friendster that just kind of disappears quickly. It'll be a very long, if it does ever die, it would be a very, very slow
death. Long slow death. Yay, Facebook.
But anyway, let's record a podcast, shall we?
Oh, we do that?
We do that.
Oh man.
We do that on Mondays now. This is weird.
It's been a busy personal.
I'm not complaining. All right, let's do this. So let's record a show. It is Monday, February 12th, 2017, and welcome to Flicker Effect. This is episode 240. I'm David Lotz. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
What's up, everybody?
And Michelle Hillard.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
This week, we're going to do the norm and talk about some box office numbers and then talk about a little bit of news. And we're just going to jump right into it. Yeah, welcome, guys. It's a Monday, a little different for us. It was a busy weekend, so we didn't get a chance to do this on our normal Sunday night. But here we are. And like I said, let's jump into the box office. The top 5 this week. Let's start at number 5. The Greatest Showman came in at number 5. In its 8th week in release.
So I know I already gave my thoughts on that film, but it's funny. I had a conversation with one of my really, 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 really best friends, and she's actually seen it 3 times in theater.
So I'm gonna guess that she's a fan.
Oh, she loves it. She thinks it's awesome. She thinks it's one of the best films of 2017.
Oh, wow.
She's talked to other people who think it's the best film of 2017. And I felt really bad. And I felt like such an asshole on the phone with her. Because I looked at her. I literally said, I was like, yeah, you and your friends need to go see more film.
You were very snobby.
I'm like, and I enjoyed that film. I think it was... I would go as far as to say it was the best musical of 2017, and I have not seen Coco. Not that Coco is really per se a musical.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Coco a musical.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say it is the best musical of 2017. I would go that far.
I would agree with that. Musicals that I'm forgetting? I don't think.
Hence why I would say it is the best musical of 2017. I felt so, I was kind of like, I love you so much, but you need to get out so much more. There's so many other... There's such good film, and I love her to death. I'm just like, honey, I need to get you out so much more because there's such an excellent film, just excellent storytelling and plot lines, and I'm just like, It almost hurt when she said that. It was like, you really think that was the best film of 2017? Oh my God, I love you so much, but right now I'm really trying hard not to be super judgy, and I'm super judgy.
But I mean, I've seen similar reactions, like on on my Facebook, and people like raving about it and going to see it a second time because they thought it was so much fun. And I mean, I can't speak for it because I haven't seen it. So,
And I enjoyed it. It was a good feel-good film. Like,
but not that good, you're saying.
but it's not the best story, and it's not the best acting, and it's not the
Right.
best well done. It's not. Like, you know my top 10 list. Everybody should know my top 10 list. Like, no.
From the way I understand it, it's basically you go for the movie, but you stay for the musical numbers. It's really all about the musical numbers. The story is somewhat, lightweight, I guess, to a certain degree, but the musical numbers are really the high points of that film. And I could see how that would be. I haven't really seen much other than the previews that we had, so I don't really know in terms of how good the musical numbers are and the amount of festive and effort that was put into the numbers. But obviously it must be really good for people to keep seeing it this many times, and not just because there's just this absence of musicals in the theater right now. I think it must be a testament to the musical numbers in this for people to be seeing it, since I mean, it's like Jumanji in a way, but just on the other end of the spectrum, in the sense that it's been out since around Christmas time and still continues to be in the theaters. And for it to still be in the top 5 at this point, it's got to be something about it. So I'm curious enough to definitely want to try and see it before it leaves the theaters, just to make up my own mind for it. Maybe I'll come out of it feeling like you, Michelle, where I'm like, oh, okay, it was good, but it's not my thing that I'm going to see like 7 or 8 times in the theater. But I do kind of want to at least be part of the conversation to have seen it.
I was gonna say that's basically where I stand with it. Like, I mean, the first time I saw a trailer, I'm like, yeah, that looks like it could be. I love musicals. It looks like it could be fun. I like Hugh Jackman. I mean, sure, I'm in. But in the busyness of the holiday movie schedule, I had to kind of make a decision. What am I gonna get to see and what am I not? And overall, I wasn't necessarily feeling like there was a lot of praise and buzz out there for that movie. So when it came to deciding, am I going to see that or something else, especially leading up to our top 10 show, I decided not to see The Greatest Showman. But now I want to see it more so, I think, just because I want to see where I fall. Since I do know people who are like, oh my God, David, it was so good. Like, you have to see it. It was so much fun. It was like one of the best movies I've seen. Like, now I'm like, all right, well, now I got to see where I stand. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely say the music I thought was great, and the musical numbers, the spectacular, just the way they were done, and just everything around it, it was done really well. But and I say that, and I will say the first song was a little rough. I feel like because you were just kind of the movie jumps right into a song almost immediately, and it's almost jarring because you're trying to understand what Hugh Jackman's saying because he's trying to white boy Australian rap, and it's just not really working that well. But I will say from that song continuing on, it's really, really good. The music is good, and just everything they put encompassing the songs as they're being performed is really done well. But I mean, the story is not that strong. It seems like they were really pushing to find a story to create. But the message is good. The message of the film is good. And it's a good movie. It's a good feel-good movie. Like, I left going, yeah, I can do things. Yeah, let's do life. Like, like, I'm like, I am myself, and I just should be proud of who I am, and I should just do what I want to do with my life and be happy with what I do. And that's great. Like, I'm not trying to take away from the film. I just feel like to call it the best film of the entire year, I'm like, oh, there's just better stories.
right.
And they're told better. But otherwise, I would say it's an entertaining film and people should go see it. And I do recommend that you and Bobby see it in the theater, I will say, because it's just to see it on the screen, to see all of it in its grandiose shots would be awesome for you guys.
So yeah, it's in its 8th
Absolutely.
week in release, pulled in about 6.5 million, bringing its domestic grand total up to about 150, a little short of 150 million. And yeah, you mentioned Bobby, like now you're especially curious because it's still up there, but I feel like, obviously we all know that this is a slow period for new movies right now, and I will say, as a moviegoer, if I were to go to a movie theater right now and be like, well, there's really nothing new I want to watch, but I didn't get this chance to see Greatest Showman, that would be the movie I'd probably go see
Is
right now.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably helping it have some legs and staying in the top 5.
Probably, yeah.
Number 4 this week was Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, also in its 8th week in release. But it's got a grand total of 366
Oh
million.
man.
So yeah, Michelle, don't you feel like you want to see this movie to see where you stand?
The silence is just all the confirmation you need
I would
to know
say
that the show has no
I would
interest.
see the film later when I can just stream it or rent it. Just rent it at home
Right.
or something to see where I stand. But as far as spending money at the movie theater to see where I stand, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm good with it.
You know what's funny about that is that let's see, we're in February now. That movie will probably be out on Blu-ray by end of March or April, or at least streaming. It should definitely be streaming by probably next month. And it's still in theaters right now. So like it'll be out of theaters and then in 2 weeks you can catch it on streaming
Right.
because it's been playing that long.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So
I'll definitely rent it. I'm curious to see where I stand, to see how judgy I can be on it. But right now, I'm not going to pay to see it in the theater.
I get it.
I'm going to be very curious to hear what you think.
I will definitely be curious. I'll be curious to see if you can, even though I know, we talked about it on our last show, if anyone's curious, and you can go listen to our last podcast. But, I know your point of view with the Jumanji franchise and your attachment to it as a child, but I'll be curious to see if you were able to watch that movie and just go, okay, I get that it's called Jumanji, but I'm just going to treat this like it's something else.
That's my goal, is to try to do that.
Right.
Is to try to just go, okay, let me just see this for what it is.
Right.
And not as the storybook that I used to love as a child.
Right.
Yes. That's the goal.
So yeah, that pulled in a hair over 10 million this weekend. At number 3 this weekend was our first new release, the 1517 to Paris. That's the new Clint Eastwood film, coming in with about 12.5 million. I don't believe any of us saw this, or at least I know I didn't. Michelle, I don't believe you did.
I didn't see this one. No.
Bobby, I don't think you did either.
I didn't, but I really did want to see this movie. And then I started seeing the reviews, and where it was basically the idea was behind this is that Clint Eastwood, who directed the film, wanted to use the actual people who were a part of this event. And so I guess he really kind of talked the studio into letting him use these actors. I'm sorry, not actors, but these real life people instead of actors. And I hear the movie kind of suffers for that, for them actually using the real life people instead of actors to portray them. And that's unfortunate because just from the trailer, I was interested at least to see what was going on there and to hear this story and this event. And now it sounds like it could be ruined by the fact that they use the real people as opposed to just trying to elevate that story a little bit more with some more professionalism attached to it. So that's unfortunate because I really did think I was going to enjoy seeing that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really have a lot of desire in this one.
Oh, no?
I don't think. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. The actual story is amazing and interesting, but
Yeah.
I felt like to turn that into a 2-hour film, it felt like he was trying too hard to take something that is amazing. It's amazing what these guys did, but I don't know I mean, if anything, I guess I'd be curious to see how this is stretched out into a full-length feature film, but
I could actually tell you, but I won't say it on air just in case someone does want to see it, but I'll let you know after.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't really drawn in by this.
I mean, I can make my assumptions as to what they filled in with based on the trailer. It looks like they go back into the guy's past and kind of show like what built them into the men that they are and why they did the things that they did in that moment on the train. So I can kind of see that. But yeah, I gotta say, like, I think I will say, like, I commend these gentlemen on what they did, and I do think the story is slightly interesting. Is it a 2-hour Clint Eastwood worthy film? I feel like that's debatable. And at the same time, I'm saying that, and I feel like Clint's films of recent years have been kind of not that great, you know? And so that's the other thing. I'm already kind of like, is this really worth 2 hours of my time? I'm not really watching actors. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean to these guys. It'd be like if I just was like, I'm going to do a film about myself. I don't know the first thing about acting. Like, I know nothing about acting. Nothing. Not a gosh darn thing. Like, I think people would be crazy to watch me on film. And so, yeah, like, I'm kind of like, I understand in a way what Clint was trying to go for, but yeah, I don't know. But I would say it's another film that once it comes out digitally, I will probably watch it. But right now, to pay for it in theater, that's not happening.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny about the movie too is that when you watch that trailer, the last shot of the trailer is of the guy running at the gunman who was on the train, and I don't know the story, so that was another reason why I wanted to watch it, so as I could get the story instead of looking it up and reading what the actual events of what happened were. I just kind of wanted to see it within the confines of the movie. But the one thing that kind of takes you out of the element of that last shot is the fact that they used the real actors. So I'm like, well, if they used the real actors and he's in this shot, then I'm imagining he was actually alive after that. Like, you don't know if you were thinking this was an actor, whether or not he survives that incident. But you kind of get the sense that he must have if he was able to make this movie.
Spoiler alert. They lived.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for using logic.
They lived because now they're doing the film about themselves.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, that was number 3 this weekend, pulling in, like I said, about 12.5 million. At number 2, another new release, Peter Rabbit, from Sony Pictures, pulling in 25 million this weekend. I also don't believe any of us have seen this.
No.
Anybody have any attachment to Peter Rabbit or any desire?
I mean, I would say, like, I read Beatrice's books when I was younger, and I enjoyed Peter Rabbit. And when I first heard they were going to be doing a live action animated Peter Rabbit, I was kind of like, oh, I'm kind of interested. But I will say, from the first time I saw the first trailer, I was like, oh, hell no.
Right.
Like, the story just seemed... And again, I'm sure at some point in my life I will wind up watching this film because it'll be on Netflix and I'll be babysitting somebody and things will happen and I'll watch it and that's fine, but I'm not going out of my way to see this film because I saw that trailer and I went, no.
Right.
And not like, oh, I'm against kid films, but no, it just looks... No.
Wasn't like Paddington that.
No, right, exactly. Like Paddington really drew me. I was like, that looks pretty good. This just looks like a bunch of ridiculousness.
Right.
Anyways.
Were you going to say something about it, Bobby?
No, I was just saying I didn't have any attachment to it. Okay. I wasn't, I guess I knew about it as a kid growing up, but I don't think I ever read any of those books. And the movie trailer, it looked like it was fun maybe for a young kid, and I didn't grab me in any sort of way that, like, I still to this day swear by the Paddington movies because I don't know, there's something about them that's really just sort of special. And this being this sort of live action and CG mix, it didn't hit that note to me that Paddington does, so it just didn't really grab me in a way that made me want to go see it.
Well, I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
I also really had no desire, and it didn't strike me as a movie that my kids would be particularly interested in seeing either, at least not yet. So I did not see Peter Rabbit. But at number 1 this weekend was a movie on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the audience it is trying to appeal to, and that was 50 Shades Freed I believe this is.
Although,
Oh, sorry.
no, I said although I do hear that they tend to do it like rabbits in those movies. So I guess
Oh.
there is some sort of.
You go, Bobby.
So what?
You so punny.
I believe this is the end of the trilogy, right? We're not doing. We're not making 4
Thank
films
God.
out of 3 books. This is it.
Hallelujah! Praise Jesus.
It's
This is
over.
it.
This-
But I
It's
wouldn't
done.
put it past. I wouldn't put it past
Don't
the
say that.
author to start making some more books for this series, since it is still seeming to do well enough in the theater. I mean, these movies must not cost too much to make, so
Oh, hell no.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that too. If let's say this movie actually did really well, they'd probably be like, we'll just make another one. We don't care if there's not a book. Like, do we really need a book? Like, come on, we can come
Right.
up with something on our own. But anyway, yeah, 50 Shades Freed pulled in about 38.5 million. Yeah, at number 1 this week. But you've seen the other 2 movies, Michelle. You missed out.
I know. No, I mean, and I said on the last show, really, at this point in juncture, I would only see this film because I saw the other 2 films. And even then, like, I saw the other 2 films, and when I saw the other 2 films, it wasn't like, oh my god, I love the book so much, I can't wait to see it, oh my god. Ah! It was like me and my girlfriends pre-gaming, getting drunk, going to see the film, and then making fun of it the entirety of the movie and heckling it in the theater. And that's what I do. Yeah, we're those chicks for these movies. And I did, and it was fun. And I would really only go to see this one to continue the tradition at this point, to get a good buzz on and go in there. I mean, my girlfriends just rail on it basically, and that's about it. And I know it sounds horrible, but honest to God, that's the only reason I would go see this film right now. I really don't even care how the actual storyline even ends. I don't even give 2 shits. I just want to heckle it.
Well, you still have time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's top 5 of the box office this week. But hey, while we're talking about box office numbers, as we all know, this coming weekend, Black Panther is finally here.
Yes.
And it's tracking to do pretty well, according to Hollywood Reporter. Just 2 weeks ago, the NRG tracking had it at about 125 million for its opening weekend. That tracking has now changed, and it seems to be up to 165 is what it's tracking to make this coming weekend for first, it's the first of its franchise, if you will, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We haven't had a Black Panther movie yet.
Right.
And it's a February movie. Now we all know that Deadpool did quite well in February, but
And I think that's kind of what this one's going for too. And it's funny because I feel like the year the Deadpool came out, when it came out that year, it kind of kicked off film that year, because I feel like pretty quickly we had a bunch in March and April. Like, it really kind of took off. And so I'm hoping maybe that with this one coming out, we might get another year like that.
Yeah. But Black Panther appears like it's going to be doing quite well for itself. Not that we were really questioning but and what I think we saw today, that it's right now its IMAX pre-sales are more than any other Marvel movie, I think.
Yeah.
Are you serious? That's insane.
There
Like
was
more-
that headline, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
was
more than-
surprised by that too.
Wow. More than Civil War and like an Avengers?
Yep.
Damn.
It's pretty incredible. Whatever this movie ends up doing, it's going to be really good. I mean, had it opened at 80 million, they were thinking that was going to be really solid. So once they started initially talking about it doing maybe 100 to 120, and it was like, okay, that's definitely beating expectations. And now to where it's tracking at now, it's amazing. It's stunning that it could be able to do that, because I think, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think if it did something like 176 or 177, it would beat the opening for Captain America Civil War. So it would put it only behind Avengers 2 and Avengers the first one.
Man.
So that would be oh my, that's like incredible for
It's
obviously an
oh
origin
my
story
God.
or first time
Right.
out movie for a solo
Oh my God.
hero.
That's awesome, but mind blowing, but awesome.
Right.
Like it's very like it's almost surreal to hear these kind of numbers coming out because I mean I feel like I like those numbers when I hear things for like the Avengers. I'm like, oh, it's the big group movie, you know, like for an origin film. I'm just like, it's mind blowing and it's awesome, but it's incredible.
Right. Here's a side question: have we all listened to the new soundtrack?
I have.
I've listened to it a little bit on Spotify.
I've listened to
I've
most of
listened to
it.
a little bit.
So yeah, the soundtrack's out now. I listened to it on Spotify. Kendrick Lamar produced it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious to know everyone's thoughts because I'm gonna sound like the really lame old dad right now, but I'm gonna own it. Like I'm gonna first say that the album's really good. I like the album. Like, but I have to say I found myself listening to it and thinking, so this is a soundtrack for a Marvel movie.
For a Marvel / Disney owned franchise.
Yeah, but even the Disney thing aside, it's a Marvel movie. It's a comic book movie. And
This is gonna be good.
and it is extremely explicit. Like, and as much as I like the album's really, really good. But I was just like, I don't know, just something about this just doesn't feel right. Like, there were tracks of that album, and I will say I started listening to it. My kids were in the car, and I'm like, yeah, no, this has got to go.
Skip.
Skip.
That's fun.
Skip.
I don't know. Am I the only one that thinks like, is that kind of like wrong?
You old stuck up
Oh,
white
whatever.
dude.
I don't care.
Just kidding.
Well, I listened to it as well, and there was songs on there that I'm listening to, and then some other ones, and I honestly, because there was a story that came out that said that some other rapper from I think Northern California came out with an album the same day called Black Panther, and he was trying to take the image of Black Panther and associate it with his stuff so it could get sales or whatever. So I knew that going into it as I'm listening, and I was hearing some of the songs. I kept double checking. I was like, is this on the official soundtrack? 'Cause this is like
I'm listening to I'm listening to the Marvel studio release, right? Not
exactly. And I'm like listening to it. I'm like, wait. And in my head, I'm like, damn, this is a Disney soundtrack. Like, this is so crazy stuff right now.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think of that because I was like, that's crazy that this is an official soundtrack to a Disney / Marvel movie. And I honestly, David, I thought the same way as you. I was
All
like,
right. So I'm not crazy.
Crazy that this could be an actual thing and not just some sort of side project loosely affiliated with. No, this is like official real deal stuff here.
Or even if it were like the, music inspired by the film kind of thing. You see a lot of soundtracks like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Even that would have been a little more like, okay. And with that said, I get that, yeah, this is the soundtrack to the movie. But obviously, most of this music we will not be hearing in this movie.
We're going to hear such very small snippets of some of these songs, and they're not going to be the explicit portion of the
won't
song.
hear lyrics, yeah.
Right. It's going to be very, very honed in. And so, I mean, I will say, yeah, it is funny to be like, wow, this is the official soundtrack for this film. Because of how explicit it is. It is definitely, and it is explicit. And yeah, I'm saying that, and I enjoyed it. Like, I like it. It is really good hip hop and R&B and rap. Like, it's really good. Like, it's really good. Like, it's spectacular to just listen to at home when you're just kind of hanging. It's really great for going out at the same time. Like, it's a good album. It's definitely not something that you want anyone under the age of, say, 15 really listening to. And even then, like, it's kind of, like, there's definitely, and again, like, I feel like I'm feeling old now because I'm like, oh my God, it's so explicit. I listened to explicit music when I was a kid, younger, but even then, I don't think I listened to explicit music until I was in middle school or high school. So, yeah, but yeah, for it to be the official soundtrack, It's interesting. It's definitely a departure.
It's a first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm saying that, and I don't feel like it's a departure in a bad way per se. Like the music is good. Like they put together a really great soundtrack album. But yeah, it's very explicit.
It is. But anyway, long story short, I mean, if you're old enough, I think we all recommend it.
It's great.
But yeah, if you've got a service like Spotify, for example, yeah, that's how I listen to it. So it's available.
If you have anybody under the age of 18 in your car, don't listen to it.
So anyway, what else has been going on this week? Well, we've had a little bit of DC Warner Brothers news. Bobby, you might know more about it, but I think we've talked about on here before that there's going to be, or at least there was possibly going to be, a Joker standalone film.
Yeah.
And who's directing that? Do you remember?
Todd Phillips of the Hangover fame.
Oh,
Okay.
because that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So what it looks like this, and yeah, please correct me, Bobby, or anybody here, if I'm saying
Sure.
something that's incorrect. But my understanding is that this is going to be a DC film, obviously, if it's got the Joker in it, but it's not going to be a part of the DC expanded universe movies that we've had so far. Even though they've basically
Right.
kind of said that they're not going to really focus so much on the connection between these movies kind of from here on out. We'll see how true that ends up being. But this seems like it's just really going to be its own standalone kind of origin story film about the Joker. And I guess right now Joaquin Phoenix is in talks to play the Joker. Is that right?
Yeah, so apparently it was obviously we had heard something about this a little while back, and it was really around the time of before I think Justice League came out, and it seemed like they were already starting to plot what they wanted to do after Justice League, and it seemed like they were going into some direction to where they were going to start maybe releasing these movies that have no connection to their current DC extended universe. And the idea was maybe you just get these one-off stories and really bring to light by these different auteurs and people who can tell a story in a self-contained, compelling way. And one of those that we had heard about, it was pretty much the idea of having Martin Scorsese executive producing this Joker film. And then rumors went really hot about the idea of Leonardo DiCaprio playing the Joker.
What?
And then all of a sudden it cooled down, like there was nothing, and it hadn't been anything for quite a while. And then it was just last week that the things started to bubble up again because someone out there was saying that the studio was in negotiations with almost said River Phoenix with Joaquin Phoenix to do the Joker. And obviously, as we sort of mentioned at the top, is that Todd Phillips is the director. So I guess the initial talks that he was having with Leonardo DiCaprio, for whatever reason, didn't work out, and so then the studios approached Joaquin Phoenix. So this might be something that Joaquin would be actually interested in, because if you guys might remember, he was rumored to be playing Doctor Strange before Benedict Cumberbatch. And part of the reason why that fell through is because he didn't want or like the idea of appearing in multiple movies and across other movies and having to do the press junket and all that stuff for it. So maybe this would be more up his alley, to the way that he doesn't have to do anything but this one movie, and it's just a one-off, and he's out of there. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually go with this place. But it's just the fact to me that with DC, it's just that we keep hearing these things, and whether they're official announcements or just rumors of stuff, it doesn't seem like there's a straight through line in terms of what they're planning. Because I even just read the other day, just to sort of briefly go on this whole Joker Batman tangent, that Ben Affleck is still conflicted about whether or not he wants to play the Batman.
Right.
Continue on. So it's like, I don't know where everything goes in terms of what they do in these meetings at Warner Brothers DC, but they seem to be still trying to grasp at something that works. And maybe this could be an alternative for them to have these one-off movies because there's no real commitment to anything. They don't have to make it a certain sort of way other than trying to make it just a self-contained good movie. So I would be very much interested in seeing Joaquin Phoenix play the Joker. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head who has that weirdness about him and craziness that you could see playing this. So, yeah, when I heard the name, I was like, okay, I would be interested in seeing that movie.
Michelle, do you have any desire to see this?
Yes and no. If that makes any sense.
Explain.
I mean, for me, I think the Joker is such an icon of villainry. I guess is the best word. I'm just gonna make words now. This is what I do. So he's such a villain that is held to such a high pedestal. I think in a way it would be interesting to see, but I don't know, like a whole film. I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on it, but I do like the idea of as weird as it sounds, I actually like the idea of Joaquin doing it. And I know it's kind of weird because I did enjoy Jared Leto a lot, but I kind of think I like this idea. Does that make sense?
I get it. I get how you feel because I hate this. But
oh, why?
I'm so over Warner Brothers
DC?
and DC and how they're handling everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in one sense, what they're doing with, making a Joker, standalone movie is basically where I feel like they should have just stayed all along. They should have just stuck with, we're going to randomly make DC movies and let really good directors randomly make them and not worry about any connections. Like, let's let Christopher Nolan make a trilogy of Batman movies, and hey, maybe we'll let this guy make a trilogy of Superman movies.
Right, they were doing different from what Marvel Studios was doing.
And that was, I think if they could just had stuck with that plan, and then maybe if it just happened to work out, they could have put it all together. Maybe, but
maybe,
if not, don't even worry about it.
I agree,
Just make good movies.
No, yeah.
So in a way, doing this is kind of along those lines. So I should be like, okay, that's what I want you to do. But at the same time, they seem to be in the middle of, well, we're trying to make a universe, but now we're also going to make a random movie featuring a character that you just saw, who obviously this Joaquin Phoenix portrayal is going to be way different than the Jared Leto Joker. And I just find it frustrating, and I just don't give a fuck anymore.
Right,
I'm really frustrated by all of it.
Pathway.
Lobo might be directed by fucking Michael Bay, and I just don't. I really wish that, other than the fact that there's some movies coming up I do want to see. I want to see Aquaman. I want to see that Flash movie. If it weren't for that stuff, and by the way, how often have I been saying that I really want to see more Henry Cavill as Superman? Other than all that stuff, if it weren't for those things, I really would just be like, can we just step away from DC for like 10 years? Let's just take a break.
Let's just take a effing break.
Let's let Marvel do their thing, and maybe it'll run its course eventually. And Marvel, eventually the Marvel train will have to slow down. I mean, it's going to have to eventually.
Sure.
Well,
sure.
And then just someday, maybe we'll just really completely restart and we'll do something new. And that's what I wish would happen. But I don't know. Overall, yeah. Do I think Joaquin Phoenix would be a good Joker? Sure. But am I excited about this movie? No, not at all. I really just don't care.
No, I agree with you, though, what you're saying, though. I mean, it's frustrating because it's like we've gotten the Ben Affleck Batmans and we've gotten Justice. They're trying to have a continuity happening here, and I commend them for finally realizing, we should do a continuity thing and we should pull everything together. Excellent. Either stick with that or don't. But I feel like just to throw in this random one, it just feels like it's just throwing in a random one is basically what's happening. And it's weird. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
You were going to say something, Bobby, while I was ranting. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I wanted to let you definitely get that rant out there, but
no, it's a good rant. It was really good.
Yeah, no, all I was gonna say was just that I think that it's amazing to me how, at least for the first 2, 3 years, on DC's TV side, they were getting everything. They were firing on all cylinders with their shows, and they had the right tone. And now things are kind of like, I don't know, not as tight and as action and fun as it used to be,
You
but
mean to
it's
tell me
still
the
okay to
Legends of
watch. But
Tomorrow are not that
it's
amazing?
what's that?
What? Nothing.
Would you say, Michelle?
No, I just said
She's just kind of ripping into Legends of Tomorrow a little bit.
no.
Oh, well, see, but that's
No.
the thing. Legends of Tomorrow knows what it is. It never tried to be anything more than just this sort of silly, campy group of people who are misfits put together and going through time. So it never tried to take itself too seriously. And you just kind of have fun on that show, and if you can embrace it, you can actually have fun with it. And same with the other shows to a certain degree. Whereas it seems like the films with DC try to take themselves so seriously, and that I'm not saying they should be campy or silly, but it's like they almost have this air of snobbery that they feel like they turn their nose up at certain things that the DC TV side is doing, that they're embracing and having fun with things. There's this episode of Arrow that just happened this past week where Arrow and one of his people that's on his team needed to confront a bad guy, and the bad guy was getting out of town, and the one of the guys on the team was like, "We'll never catch him." And then Arrow looks at him, he says, "I got an idea." And then it cuts to the next scene, and all you see is a red blur, and then the blur is gone, and then Arrow and the other guy are right there in front of the bad guy. They don't even say that the Flash, dropped him off. It was like it literally just put it in there for a second, and you
Right.
just know. And that's like comic book stuff. They show up in each other's comics, but they don't make a big deal about it. But in these movies with the DC, it's like they have to do it in this way that feels clunky, and it doesn't fit right. It's like they're trying to fit these pieces together in a way that is very much like crashing them into each other as opposed to being nuanced and a way that's fun. So I get what you're saying, David. I can understand it, but I still feel like DC has some of the best characters around, and they have the potential to do good stuff with them. It's just that the people in charge of it don't seem to understand how to do these characters on the movie side as they do on the TV side, which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I just, I guess, like I said, I don't know. I feel like stick with one plan or stick with another plan, and now they seem to be like, okay, well, we're just gonna kind of do a mixture of things, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. With that said, could this movie be very good? Absolutely. This could be a very good film. It's with possibly an amazing actor in the lead role. Will I see it? Of course I'm going to go see it. But
Sucker.
as much as I just ranted about this fucking movie, I mean, unless the trailers come out and I'm just like, why, my God, this looks terrible. I mean,
Right.
but, most likely it's going to look decent and I'm going to just at least see it just to see. But, hopefully it's great. But I don't know. It's just more evidence of frustrating developments at Warner Brothers. So anyway. Speaking of speaking of comic book movie news, we got a teaser trailer this week for the first time for Venom over at Sony.
Yeah.
Venom is not due out for a little while, not due out until October. I don't have the exact date in front of me.
So we've got 8.5 months.
We got a little bit of time, but it's been filming, I believe, in Atlanta. And yeah, we have a teaser trailer for Venom now. And Bobby, what'd you think of that Venom trailer?
I've actually
Wait, that was
been.
Venom trailer?
I've actually been
I don't
waiting.
know, because I didn't really see much Venom in that movie trailer
Oh.
teaser. I saw a lot of Eddie Brock slash Tom Hardy, but yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just not. It did nothing for me really, because
I get that.
what's that?
I know. I'm sorry. I just said I get that.
To me, it seemed like, okay, who are you trying to get with this teaser? If you're trying to appease, or not appease, but if you're trying to appeal to the general audience that don't know what Venom is, well, they still don't know what Venom is because by
Right.
seeing that, it just looks like
Yeah,
some
no, I
random
know.
sci-fi kind of thriller type movie. And that's all you're getting with someone that's Tom Hardy, which maybe they could pique their interest. But if you're trying to appeal to people who know what Venom is, then why wouldn't you show Venom? At least in some small portion, like just show a leg or just show the tendrils starting to come out of his body a little bit. Even if, obviously, like you said, David, this movie doesn't come out until October, so maybe they don't have a lot of special effects shot for it yet. Probably very little. But then why release it in February? Like, what's the rush? I mean, you still have at least until WonderCon, which is in what, March, April, to do something, or just wait till
Oh,
you
Comic-Con.
have the summer and
Right.
Comic-Con in San Diego
Right,
to
right, right,
release
right.
an actual thing to get hype built for it. So I don't understand what the rush was to put out this footage. To me, that teaser didn't show me anything that I already wasn't imagining this movie to look and feel and be like. Based on everything that they have been describing, what I saw was kind of what I had in my head. So I didn't need to see that. I didn't need to see the tone or the setup or whatever. To me, that's kind of what I kind of already was seeing in my head for this. I wanted to see what the symbiote looks like when he looks like in the suit. That's the thing that I think is the most important selling point for a movie called Venom. It's like if you saw Spider-Man and they had their first teaser, they didn't just show Peter Parker or Tobey Maguire running around. No, they actually showed him in the suit so you could get hyped for the movie. And so for them to not do that for Venom, I don't think that's good marketing, even though I've seen people online defending the fact that he's not in it as Venom. I'm like, well, I don't, that's not good marketing to me, but I could be wrong. It just didn't seem like a good idea to me.
I mean, I'll agree with you. Like but my main points are, one, it's just a teaser trailer, and two, I feel like when it comes to the character of Venom, people that actually care about this trailer are going to be people that already kind of understand his existence. I think for regular people that don't follow Spider-Man as much or the Venom section as much, I mean, they're not going to be as hung up on it. And now, having said that, I will say, I was watching it and I was kind of like, okay, they're kind of giving a little bit of backstory here. You can kind of see. But I will say, at the very, very bittersweet end of the trailer, they should have had like a shot of him, say like from the back. And they could have panned up from his ankles up to his head. And then he could have just slightly started turning towards the camera and his head and then just fade to black immediately. And I've been like, oh my God, what a teaser. That is such a like, oh, tease me, make me want to see more. And in a way, like, that's how I feel a teaser is supposed to be. It's supposed to make me go, oh, are you kidding me? That's all we're going to get to see? I'm so excited to see more of this. And this teaser didn't leave me feeling that way at all. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
In one sense, the movie doesn't come out for a long time, so am I surprised that we're not seeing much?
Right.
No, but I agree. Why bother with this right now? This feels like, it almost feels like a rush job, like somebody at Sony was just suddenly like, you know what? There's so much going on right now. We need to put out something for Venom. Let's just do it.
We're going to take this week's dailies and throw them into a teaser.
Well, sir, we don't really have effect shots ready. Oh, it's just put something out there. And it just, yeah. And yeah, it feels like, why, you know? I don't know. As much as I'm not surprised because the movie's so far away, I still have to agree that there's no reason to do this now unless you're willing to show something. Right. All you get to see is a little bit of like black coming up his neck, and that's it.
It's just not even enough for a teaser.
And that's nothing. I mean, and I'm saying this too as someone who knows little to nothing about Venom, and I watched that teaser and was like, well, I don't know. Other than
still know little to nothing about
Venom. I know nothing. And if it weren't for the fact that I, have heard so many people rave about this character and wanting to see a movie, I wouldn't care about this right now.
Right.
Like, the teaser was just kind of nothing. It was pointless. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the teaser is hurting anything. I mean, once another trailer comes out, as long as it's good, people will go, okay, cool, and they'll go see it. But it just felt like there's just no point to that happening. So,
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I I don't want to see anything else until Hall H at San Diego. Like, they can just literally not put anything. Like, I feel like if they threw anything else at us between now and then, I'd feel like it was just forced.
I mean, but you know, like you mentioned, Bobby. Sure. I mean, I could feel like they could put together a decent, you know, reel or trailer by WonderCon, and you know, hey, that'd be great. But don't do anything like this. Like, if you are going to bother with anything else between now and say Comic-Con, like, put out something that shows.
Put
something.
some effort into it. Yeah.
You know,
put some damn
right.
effort
It's
into
all
it.
pretty
Don't
pointless.
just pull me the dailies from the week.
So yeah, that movie's coming October 5th. So yeah, Venom. That's Venom. Anything
Venom.
else I'm forgetting about this week? Movie wise?
mean, as
The
far as
Deadpool 2
movies-
trailer.
Oh yeah, there was another Deadpool 2 trailer with
That's right.
kind of featured Cable.
Yeah.
I think it was called Meet Cable.
Poster is pretty sweet. Hi.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of goodness in that trailer.
there's lots-
Yeah.
It's just
it's
so
Deadpool.
many
It looks good. I don't know what to say about it.
inside
But
jokes and stuff.
yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. It's one of those things like I can't like I don't know. It's you watch that trailer and it just fills you with it's gonna be such a good film. Like there's nothing in there that leads me to believe that it's gonna be anything other than shoot 'em up, comedy, shoot 'em up, expletive deletives, shoot 'em up, expletive deletives, comedy. Like it's just that's all I feel, and I'm like that's all I want when I see a Deadpool film or trailer. That's all I want. That's really it. That's what I'm there for. Throw in some chimichanga jokes, I'm good to go.
It really has that potential to be that old school buddy cop movie where you've got the disgruntled seasoned cop that's been working the beat for a while, and the guy who's the upstart who wants to joke around. You know, it'd be like Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours or something, but
Right.
just like a superhero version, obviously.
Throw them in a comic
And
book
it will be
version, see what
fun.
happens.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, that's coming May 18th,
The week before Solo.
the week before Solo,
That's gonna be that's a busy month.
the month of mini movies.
It's a busy ass month, dude. So many movies.
Yeah.
I gotta get my movie pass. Just,
Do.
like literally just for
$7.95 right now.
just for that time frame, like it would be worth every penny.
Except I probably won't be using my movie pass on any of those movies because I'll
Well,
be seeing them
because-
all in like Dolby
Right.
Cinema.
They'll all be Dolby Cinema. This is true. It's all very true. I could just be letting money on fire if I did movie pass.
Well, no, I mean, we don't have to go on a whole thing about Movie Pass, but it's still worth it. I mean, you're going to see
Right.
one other movie that's not in some special format. Boom, you paid for Movie Pass. Like,
But in that case, usually if I see a movie that's not in that format, it's usually at my art house film theater. It doesn't even take the movie.
oh yeah, no.
Oh, it'll take it. Well, I mean, it should show up. I don't know if it
No,
will.
I don't. I think it's supposed to be approved theaters, and
Yeah, not the art house theater.
yeah, no, I don't think we can use it.
No.
there.
But anywho, I digress.
Well, anyway,
That's movie news.
that's movie news. Thanks guys for doing this on a Monday. A little different for us, but we'll
Wait,
be.
wait.
What? We gotta go. What's up?
Wait. Oh, well, okay, fine.
No,
I'll
go
save
ahead.
it for next time.
No, go ahead. What's up?
Well, I don't know if I actually got your thoughts and feelings on Benioff and Weiss doing the whole Star Wars
Oh.
films.
So yeah, Benioff and Weiss, for those who don't know, producers of Game of Thrones on HBO. They have been, I guess, chosen to produce and write, correct me if I'm wrong, a new trilogy of Star Wars movies. Side note, we already know that Rian Johnson, who just made Last Jedi, is also making a trilogy of Star Wars movies. So this is yet another trilogy of Star Wars movies. My opinion on it, my first takeaway, like right off the bat, I'm like, okay, like I love Star Wars. There's a wall of Star Wars stuff over here. Like I'm a fan.
You think
But-
there's pop vinyls all over the desk, all over the walls.
But my immediate first reaction, I have to say, is a little like, let's not do too much. Like, I mean, we're putting out a movie every year, one movie a year. In this case, it's like two movies within months of each other. With Solo coming out so soon, there's talk
No, yeah.
of TV stuff happening on Disney's digital service, And now we still have a trilogy, I guess, that we're finishing up, and yet there's going to be 2 other trilogies happening. Like, I don't want to get burned out on Star Wars.
And does
I
the
don't,
word oversaturation come
Right?
to mind? Like,
But with that said, then my second thought was, well, these guys just finishing Game of Thrones, and when you think about, I guess, the genre of TV show that Game of Thrones is, and then my immediate thought is, how awesome would it be if these guys make like an old Republic era Star Wars trilogy? That would be amazing.
it would be freaking awesome, right?
And-
Like, part of me is like, ooh, oversaturation. Then it's like, really?
And that'll be the key for me is like, okay, if I don't know we don't even know what Ryan Johnson's doing. Maybe Ryan Johnson's going to make a trilogy that is set post episode 9, and it just starts to go further into the future of Star Wars.
Right.
But if you are going to do yet another trilogy, it really needs to distance itself in some way from everything else they're doing. It needs to be very different, and that would be it. Like, and then these guys having, how do you not see that connection with them having just done
Can you
Game of
imagine how
Thrones?
brutal it would be?
Like-
Brutal. Just like, oh, so.
So overall, to answer your question, Bobby, I'm quite happy about it. What are your thoughts?
I would say similar to yours. The idea at first to me was, to steal a line from the late great Han Solo, "Don't get cocky, kid." I mean, it's like you've got so many things on your plate right now. How are you announcing so much?
Right.
And
Yeah.
yet it's like really we're just not even finished off the main saga trilogy, and then you still have your Star Wars story of Han Solo and others that are rumored, and then you also have the Ryan Johnson Solo trilogy, not Solo, the character trilogy, but a trilogy of movies that have nothing to do with the main saga. And then they said they come out and announced this for Benioff and Weiss as a series of films. They don't even call it a trilogy of films. They say a series of Star Wars films. So that's another announcement on top of, I think within that same week or even the same day, they said that there was going to be some live action Star Wars TV series. And so it's just like, wow. I mean, how do we go from not hearing much Star Wars news to all of a sudden there's all this Star Wars news? And you start thinking, are they planning on still doing these anthology films on top of what Ryan Johnson is doing, on top of what Benioff and Weiss are doing,
Right.
on top of the main regular storyline series of saga? It's daunting, and when you start to try and think about that much Star Wars, and you can start to feel like you're getting burnt out before we've even seen half of these things. And yet, I feel like if done properly, if released in the right sort of way, then I think that I would be happy to have this much Star Wars stuff, as long as it's not to the point where it just feels like I'm bombarded with it. I still like the idea of getting one Star Wars film a year, and if there was concurrently on a streaming service a Star Wars TV series, that would be a-okay with me. It's just like I don't feel like you need to oversaturate the market or rush these things when we're more than willing to wait and get these things in good time. So as long as they pace themselves properly, I'm okay with all this stuff. Because like you said, with Benioff and Weiss, I'm really interested to see what they do, especially if they do Old Republic, because that hasn't been touched yet in terms of the film and theatrical movies.
Right.
So there's so much to go with there, and to be able to see, and to finally be able to see a movie series where there's a bountiful amount of Jedi around. That will be really good to be able to appear on screen and to be just that, living in that time frame. So I'm definitely down with what they're doing if that's where the direction they're headed.
And then it seems like now more than ever, with them doing so much with Star Wars, it really seems like it feels like there needs to be not just Kathleen Kennedy at the top of Lucasfilm, but somebody that is really just focused solely on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because even though that seems to be all she's doing right now, I mean, she is the president of Lucasfilm. She's got another Indiana Jones film coming that she's going to then, be looking at on top of all this other Star Wars stuff.
Right.
Really feels like there needs to be a, we always use the example of Kevin Feige, but a Kevin Feige character, a Kevin Feige, person kind of really overlooking all of this and just focusing on Star Wars.
Exactly.
Like I said,
Because it's not like... Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh no, I was just gonna say my biggest fear is just oversaturation of the franchise. I'm afraid that we're just gonna push too much of it too hard, too fast, all the time. That at some point somebody's gonna say, "Okay, I give," Uncle, and burned out. Like, it's interesting, but Jesus Christ, like, you're taking away part of the excitement of waiting for a new one to come out.
Yeah.
And new stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as long as they're all top quality, then I think we'll be fine with it.
Yeah, but the thing is, if nobody's really monitoring it, like, you could really get away from the horse, can really get away from the carriage.
Right. And I mean, you think about this Lucasfilm Star Wars story group and how they are tasked with really, taking care of canon, making sure everything works out. But God, I can't imagine being in that position right now with having to handle so much. And I think the thing that maybe makes me the most nervous when it comes to that is not so much like the fact that all these movies have to connect to with the books that are out there, but to me, it's almost the comics. I feel like there is a lot of Star Wars comic action happening that is filling in a lot of space that it's like, oh man, that's a lot of space now that you're not going to be making movies off of that, or you really have to pay attention to all that too. It's a lot.
It's a ton.
It's a lot.
I do not envy their job.
There is a lot of there's a lot of product out there.
So anyway, yep, that's my thoughts, Bobby. On thanks for reminding me about Benioff and Weiss. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. As always, what? Okay, what, Michelle? No. You gave me. Bobby had his chance.
I feel like it just goes so quickly. I'm like, oh, we're already done. Okay, it's fine.
We're done. It's been an hour.
It's been a magical
hour. Okay, so
I'm sorry, never mind.
Yeah, as always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com with your questions and comments, and we may read them on the air. So please write to us. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/flickereffect. On Instagram at Flicker Effect, and on Twitter at Flicker_effect. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening. All right. Well, that's the end of our record session.
The show.
But for those of you sticking around on YouTube,
thanks for watching on YouTube.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great. Everything's awesome.
If this test went well, then we will hopefully be doing this all the time.
Sweet.
All right.
Bye,
everybody. On
Bye-bye.
Facebook or YouTube.
Get it right.
I know. I'm sorry. All right, YouTube people. Have a good day.